Hello, welcome to my channel. In the last video, we saw an introduction to application insights. In this video, we want to see how application insight can help you to troubleshoot the connection between your database and your web app. I'll be sharing my screen. So I'm going to Visual Studio now. On Visual Studio, we have an application that is connected to a database. I believe you can see my screen now. Hopefully you can see my screen. So I'm on Visual Studio. Let me just show you. Yeah, my app setting.json shows the connection string that allows this application to be able to interface with my database. You can see the connection string here. I got this connection string from the Azure portal because my database is not residing in my computer. The database is on Azure. It's an Azure SQL server. So we have this connection string here. We also have this application insights connection string as well. But where I'm really going to is that, so if you should come over to our service, you would see that we have two important functions. This function is to list all the content of our course table. That's the get courses function. We also have another function here, that's update course, which allows us to be able to update our courses. So these two functions are very key. But one other thing I want to show you is that, because as I stated earlier on, in the last video, we saw application insight for a web app, but in this video, we want to extend it in such a way that we can see our SQL commands that are being executed when our web app makes a request to the database. And there's something very important that should be in place over here, and that should be in our startup.cs file. This particular line of code is very key. This line of code, if you do not include it, and it's not included by default, so but you need to include it to be able to see the SQL commands from your application insight. There might be a way to do it from Azure portal, but I don't know, but I had to add it manually. So after adding this particular line, just take a look at it. This particular class, you'll be able to, you can see I'm setting it to true. I'm enabling SQL command text instrumentation, which is what is allowing me to see the SQL command in application insight. And after making this change, you can always publish, which I already did. That's why where's my publish? Yeah, when you came here, I can click on publish and I'll be fine. So what I'll do now is, let me go to my Azure portal. So take note of the key things that I mentioned. That line of code that you need to set to true. You need to enable application insight instrumentation, SQL instrumentation rather. So that needs to be set to true. Another thing you need to do is from your web app. So this is my web app. So you go over to under settings, you click on application insights, then you scroll down, you choose so we have a .NET application, so you click on .NET. This is .NET or .NET Core. You can click on any of these two. Then by default, it should be in basic. So you click on recommended. Then you scroll down and you need to enable the profiler. You can see collect profiling traces that help you see where time is spent in code. So you enable this. Another thing you need to enable, which is very key because we are interested in the database, is SQL commands. So you need to enable this also. So because we want to enable dependency tracking to show compiled SQL commands and local variables in a request. So you need to enable these two, profiler and SQL commands. Then click on apply. Then after doing that, so I have my database here. This is my SQL database, and this is the SQL server. So we don't need to do anything here other than I took my public IP to have access, as well as I also got the connection string from here. So the other thing we need to do is, so after doing this, take note of what I said. That line of code that needs to be added, the line of code that I showed you earlier on, to enable SQL command text instrumentation, it needs to be set to true. Then secondly, you need to enable SQL commands from application insights feature within your web app. And you also need to enable profiler. Then going forward, so those are the two core things that needs to be in place. So now this is our application insights. Earlier on, we saw live metrics. So let's say it, there will be no traffic, but let's say it's not available, connect to your application. Okay, so let me add some traffic to my code. So because of my database tier, if I do not use my database for some time, it leaves active state. So just need to be patient. So let me also confirm that my IP address has access to the database, because I've not run this today and it's possible that my IP address have changed. So let me stop sharing so that the whole world will not see my public IP address. Let me go over to my, I'm going to my SQL server now. Yeah, so my IP address, it hasn't changed. So let me refresh again. Yeah, it's working now. So let me reshare. So it went to inactive mode, but the moment it sees the traffic, it boots up. Yeah, so we have this backup. So now let me add some more traffic. Okay, let me get the live method to work first. Yeah, so it is backup. You can see the traffic. You can see the traffic. So let me add some more traffic. And what I would do is um let me modify one of these. So certified applications. So let me add let me see, which one should I modify? Okay, let me modify this certified application security engineer. Let me add EC console. And instead of certified application security engineer, let me change it to case. And let me save. Yeah, so you can see it has been modified. So now what I will do is, we have a couple of requests here. So let me go over to, this is the live metric, which is working, but now we want to see the database connection, how this request, when I refresh the page, is sending a get request that is retrieving all the items in the database. But I want to see the underlying SQL command behind that from the application layer. So I'll go over to transaction search. Yeah, and I'll click to see all data in the last 24 hours. This is the power of this application insights, the SQL command aspect. You can see request 56, which is a lot. Trace 4, you can see all the metrics that we have here by default. I haven't modified it, I haven't added more. So let me scroll down. Let me look for a request. So you can see this is the request for the modification. So let's even take a look at this, the one that does the modification. Then later on, I will show you this one that retrieves data. So let's see the one for the modification first. So I click on this. We can see this. Yeah, it has loaded. You can see this is the app. This is the dependency, which is the database, which you can see over here. First DB set. You can see it here. And this is the server. So let me click on this. I want to see the command, and you can see what we have here. Select course ID, course name, rating from course. So we are selecting a particular item from this. You can see the SQL command here. You can see the SQL command here. You can see the SQL command here. So let me see this. Okay, we have this. So now let me go back. One interesting thing about the application inside it, you can see you can create a work item here. So if you are working with Azure DevOps or some other kind of DevOps platform, DevOps management platform, there is easy synchronization between application inside and such a platform. So what I will do is let me go over to the request, the one that retrieves everything, and let's see the SQL command behind it. Yeah, so it's loading, and we can click on this. Oh, it's not yet done. 50% complete. Yeah, we can also see the SQL command as well for what we are interested in over here, and we can see the time that was enabled as well. So this is very, very useful. It helps you to kind of like know what is happening from the back end, and you can walk through it, you can look through it and see how it helps you. It makes it easy for you to debug your application. It makes it easy for you to debug. Yeah, so this is the transaction search. We can use it to see our commands, and it's quite helpful. So that's basically how to use the transaction search. Key takeaway from this that I want you to take note of is that you can see this particular so before I give you the key takeaway, just look at the endpoint here. You can see over here we are editing a particular course ID, but if you should see, if you come over here, is the index page. So it's really, really useful. So two key takeaways to get this working in your own end. Number one is that you need to add the SQL command text instrumentation. You need to add it to your program.cs or your startup.cs, depends on the architecture of your application, depends on your directory structure. Then secondly, you need to enable profiler as well as SQL commands from your application insights utility in your web app. So those are the two key takeaways that you need to have in place for you to get it to work. Else you wouldn't see the commands over there. Yeah. So if you find this video useful, don't hesitate to share, like, and subscribe. This is just a simple, a basic aspect to what Application Insight does for you. You can see there are so many options here that you can work with, and it's really, really helpful. So many options, you can navigate through it and see how it works. So don't hesitate to share, like, and subscribe. If you find this video useful, have a great day.